In the depths of space, aboard the massive Galactic Syndicate headquarters, a meeting of utmost secrecy was taking place. The room, bathed in an eerie blue light, was occupied by beings of various alien races, each more bizarre than the last. At the head of the table sat Zixnera, the Syndicate's supreme leader, her tentacles writhing with anticipation. "Gentle beings," she began, her voice a harsh whisper that somehow carried across the room, "we face an unprecedented threat. Humanity has expanded beyond their solar system, and their influence grows daily." Murmurs of discontent rippled through the assembly. Humanity, the upstart species that had burst onto the galactic scene mere centuries ago, was causing quite a stir. Their adaptability, their ingenuity, their sheer stubbornness in the face of adversity, all of it made them dangerous. "We have tried diplomacy," Zixnera continued, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with frustration. "We have tried economic sanctions. We have even attempted subtle sabotage. Nothing has worked. The humans continue to thrive, to expand, to innovate." She spat the last word as if it were a curse. From the shadows, a new figure emerged. Tall, lithe, with skin that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, the newcomer moved with predatory grace. This was Krell, the most feared assassin in the known galaxy. "You summoned me, Exalted One." Krell's voice was soft, almost melodious, belying his lethal nature. Zixnera's tentacles coiled tightly. "Yes, Krell. We have a job for you. A job that, if successful, will cement your place as the greatest assassin in history." Krell's eyes, black as the void of space, glittered with interest. "I'm listening. We want you to eliminate the human leadership. All of it. Their president, their military commanders, their top scientists. Cut off the head, and the body will wither." For a moment, silence reigned. Then, unexpectedly, Krell laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Exalted One," he said, his tone bordering on condescension. "Surely you jest. Humans, they're hardly worth my time. Send a novice if you must, but don't waste my talents on such primitive creatures." Zixnera's bioluminescence flared dangerously. "You underestimate them, Krell. Many have tried what I'm asking of you. All have failed." This caught Krell's attention. Failed assassinations were rare in his line of work, and unheard of on such a scale. "Explain," he demanded. A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the table. It showed footage of various assassination attempts on human leaders. In each case, the human target seemed to react at the last possible second, avoiding certain death by the narrowest of margins. "It's as if they have a sixth sense," one of the assembled aliens muttered. Krell studied the footage intently. He had to admit, it was impressive. But every being had a weakness, and he was determined to find humanity's. "Very well," he said at last. "I accept the challenge, but my price has just doubled." Zixnera's tentacles twisted in what might have been a smile. "Money is no object, Krell. Succeed, and you can name your price." As Krell turned to leave, Zixnera called out one last time. "And Krell, do not fail us. The future of the Galactic Syndicate depends on your success." The assassin paused at the door, his form already beginning to blend with the shadows. "I never fail," he said simply, and then he was gone. In the following days, Krell immersed himself in the study of humanity. He pored over historical records, analyzed their physiology, and even watched their entertainment broadcasts. The more he learned, the more intrigued he became. Humans were indeed a paradox. Physically weaker than many species, they compensated with cunning and technology. Their societies were chaotic, riddled with conflicts, yet they presented a united front to the galaxy. And most intriguingly, they seemed to possess an uncanny ability to sense danger. Krell's preparations were meticulous. He selected his weapons carefully, a mix of his own advanced technology and more primitive tools that wouldn't be easily traced. He studied the schedules and habits of his targets, looking for patterns and vulnerabilities. Finally, after weeks of preparation, Krell was ready. His first target, Admiral Helena Chen, the architect of humanity's rapid expansion into space. As his stealth ship approached Earth, Krell felt a rare twinge of excitement. This was more than just another job. This was a test of his skills against an entire species that had thus far proved unkillable. Little did Krell know, but his arrival on Earth was about to set in motion a chain of events that would change the galaxy forever. For while he hunted humanity's leaders, something far more dangerous was hunting him: the indomitable spirit of humanity itself. As Krell's ship entered Earth's atmosphere, cloaked from all known detection systems, he allowed himself a small smile. The hunt was about to begin, and he was determined to prove that no species, not even humans, were beyond his reach. Admiral Helena Chen stood at the viewport of the International Space Station, her eyes fixed on the blue marble of Earth below. At 52, she was the youngest person ever to hold her position, a testament to her brilliance in strategy and her unwavering dedication to humanity's future among the stars. "Beautiful, isn't it?" a voice said behind her. Helena turned to see Dr. Amit Patel, the station's chief scientist, floating towards her. "Never gets old," Helena agreed. "How are the new propulsion tests going?" Amit's face lit up with excitement. "We've had a breakthrough. If our calculations are correct, we could reduce interstellar travel time by 40%. Helena smiled. This was why she loved working with humans. Their constant drive to improve, to push boundaries, never ceased to amaze her. It was this spirit that had catapulted humanity from a single planet to a significant galactic power in just a few centuries. Suddenly, a shiver ran down Helena's spine. She frowned, looking around the module. Nothing seemed out of place, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. "Admiral, are you all right?" Amit asked, concern evident in his voice. Helena shook her head, trying to clear the uneasy feeling. "I'm fine. Just a bit tired, I suppose. Let's go over those test results." As they moved towards the science lab, neither of them noticed the slight shimmer in the air near the airlock, the only visible sign of Krell's presence. The alien assassin watched his target with growing fascination. He had been on the station for hours, easily bypassing its security systems, yet the human admiral had sensed something amiss. It was intriguing. Krell followed the humans, his adaptive camouflage rendering him virtually invisible. He listened as they discussed propulsion theories and expansion plans, his respect for their intelligence growing by the minute. These weren't the primitive beings the Galactic Syndicate had described. These humans were clever, innovative, and surprisingly perceptive. As the day progressed, Krell found more opportunities to eliminate Admiral Chen. Yet each time he prepared to strike, she would inexplicably move at the last second or turn in a way that ruined his shot. It was maddening and exhilarating at the same time. By the time the station's day cycle ended and the crew prepared for sleep, Krell was both frustrated and more determined than ever. He watched as Helena entered her private quarters, the door sliding shut behind her. This was his chance. Confined space, no witnesses, a sleeping target. It should have been simple. Krell silently made his way to the door, his advanced tech easily overriding the lock. The door slid open with a soft hiss, and he entered, his weapon at the ready. The room was dark, illuminated only by the soft glow of Earth through the viewport. Krell's eyes, adapted for low light, quickly found the sleeping form of Admiral Chen. He raised his weapon, aiming for a quick, clean kill. In that instant, Helena's eyes snapped open. With a speed that belied her years, she rolled off the bed, narrowly avoiding Krell's shot. The energy bolt scorched the wall where her head had been moments before. "Computer, lights," Helena shouted, grabbing a nearby tablet. The sudden brightness momentarily disoriented Krell, his camouflage flickering. For a split second, assassin and target locked eyes. Krell saw not fear in the human's gaze, but a fierce determination. Helena, for her part, was confronted with a being unlike any she had ever seen. a living shadow with eyes that seemed to absorb light. Then the moment passed. Krell, realizing his cover was blown, made a strategic retreat. He fired several more shots, not to kill but to cover his escape. Helena ducked and weaved, her tablet held before her like a shield. As alarms blared throughout the station, Krell made his way back to the airlock where his ship was docked. He had to admit, the human's response time was impressive. Already, he could hear the pounding of boots as security teams mobilized. Just as Krell reached his ship, a voice rang out behind him. "Stop right there." He turned to see Helena, disheveled but unbowed, pointing what looked like a makeshift weapon cobbled together from station equipment. The ingenuity of it almost made Krell laugh. "Who are you?" Helena demanded. "What do you want?" Krell considered his options. He could easily overpower her, but something held him back. This human had done what no other being had managed in centuries. She had survived his assassination attempt. "I am Krell," he said, his voice carrying a note of respect. "And you, Admiral Helena Chen, have impressed me. But this is only the beginning." Before Helena could respond, Krell activated his ship's systems. The airlock sealed, cutting off the approaching security team. As his ship detached from the station, Krell saw Helena watching him through the viewport, her expression a mix of anger and curiosity. As Krell's ship accelerated away from Earth, he found himself in an unfamiliar state. Uncertainty. The encounter had not gone as planned, but it had revealed something crucial. Humans were more than they appeared, and this mission would require a new approach. Back on the station, Helena stood in the conference room, surrounded by her top advisors and security personnel. The room was abuzz with tension and confusion. An alien assassin, General Rodriguez, the head of Earth's defense forces, shook his head in disbelief. "Are you sure, Admiral?" Helena's eyes flashed with irritation. "I know what I saw, General. This wasn't some random attack. It was targeted, precise, and that being, it was like nothing we've encountered before." Dr. Patel, who had been quietly analyzing the sensor data, spoke up. "She's right. Look at these readings. The technology this assassin used, it's beyond anything in our databases." A heavy silence fell over the room. The implications were staggering. Not only was there a highly advanced alien assassin targeting Earth's leadership, but it suggested the existence of an equally advanced civilization that wanted humanity eliminated. Helena took a deep breath, her mind racing. "All right, here's what we're going to do. First, we increase security for all high-level officials, both on Earth and in our colonies. Second, I want every scrap of data we have on this encounter analyzed. If this Krell character comes back, we need to be ready." As the meeting adjourned and plans were set in motion, Helena found herself drawn back to the viewport. Somewhere out there, Krell was planning his next move. And despite the danger, Helena felt a spark of excitement. This was first contact, albeit a hostile one, with a new alien species. It was a pivotal moment in human history, and she was at the center of it. "Bring it on, Krell," she muttered to herself, her reflection in the glass showing a determined smile. "We humans have survived worse than you. We're not going down without a fight." Little did Helena know, but her defiance was about to spark a conflict that would reshape the galaxy. The hunt had begun, and both predator and prey were more evenly matched than either realized. The hunt begins. Krell's ship drifted silently in the shadow of Mars, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to Earth's sensors. Inside, the alien assassin pored over the data from his encounter on the space station, his dark eyes narrowed in concentration. "Computer, replay visual feed of the human's evasive maneuvers," he commanded. The holographic display flickered to life, showing Admiral Chen's lightning-fast reactions from multiple angles. Krell had spent the last Earth week analyzing every second of his failed attempt. The more he studied, the more perplexed he became. It wasn't just Chen's inexplicable ability to sense danger that intrigued him. It was the entire human response to his presence. Their technology, while primitive compared to his own, was advancing at an alarming rate. Their tactics were unpredictable, their thinking outside any box Krell had encountered in his long career. For the first time in centuries, the master assassin felt challenged. A notification ping interrupted his musings. Incoming transmission from Galactic Syndicate headquarters, the computer announced. Krell suppressed a sigh. He knew this call was coming, but he had hoped for more time to formulate a new strategy. With a flick of his wrist, he accepted the transmission. Zixnera's holographic form materialized, her tentacles writhing with barely contained fury. "Explain yourself, Krell," she hissed. "You assured us of your infallibility, yet here you are, skulking in the shadows of a primitive world, your target still very much alive." Krell met her gaze unflinchingly. "The situation is more complex than initially presented, Exalted One. These humans, they are not what we thought." "Excuses," Zixnera spat. "We hired you for results, not anthropological observations. Eliminate the targets, Krell, or we will find someone who can." As the transmission cut off, Krell allowed himself a small smile. The Syndicate's desperation was palpable, and it only heightened his curiosity about these humans. What made them so threatening that the most powerful organization in the galaxy feared them? Back on Earth, Admiral Helena Chen was asking herself similar questions. In the weeks following the attack, she had thrown herself into preparing Earth's defenses. But even as she worked, a part of her mind kept returning to the enigmatic assassin. "Admiral, you wanted to see me." Dr. Amit Patel's voice broke through her reverie. Helena nodded, gesturing for him to take a seat in her office. "What have you found?" Amit's eyes gleamed with excitement as he pulled up a holographic display. "It's fascinating, Admiral. We've been analyzing the residual energy signatures from the assassin's weapons and cloaking technology. It's unlike anything we've ever seen, but, Helena prompted, leaning forward. "But we think we can replicate some of it," Emmett finished, his voice hushed with awe. "More than that, we think we can improve on it." Helena felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best. Taking the unknown and not just understanding it, but surpassing it. "How soon can we have a working prototype?" Amit's expression turned serious. "That's the thing, Admiral. We need more data. Without another encounter, our progress will be limited." Helena leaned back, considering. The rational part of her knew that hoping for another assassination attempt was madness. But another part, the part that had driven her to the stars, thrilled at the challenge. "Keep working, Amit," she said finally. "And prepare a team. I have a feeling our alien friend will be back sooner rather than later." As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Helena rushed to the command center, Amit hot on her heels. The main screen showed a flurry of activity near one of Earth's lunar colonies. "Report," Helena barked. A young lieutenant snapped to attention. "Ma'am, we've detected an unauthorized entry at Lunar Base Alpha. The intruder matches the description of the assassin from the space station." Helena's heart raced. This was it. Another encounter, another chance to learn, to adapt. "Activate Protocol Omega," she ordered, "and get me a secure line to the base commander." As the command center burst into action, Helena allowed herself a grim smile. The hunt had truly begun, but this time, humanity wouldn't be caught off guard. On the lunar surface, Krell moved through the corridors of Lunar Base Alpha with preternatural stealth. His target this time was Dr. Ilara Vance, Earth's leading expert in xenobiology, and a key figure in humanity's plans for galactic expansion. But something felt off. The base's defenses, while still no match for his technology, seemed prepared. It was as if they were expecting him. As Krell rounded a corner, he came face to face with a squad of heavily armed security personnel. Their weapons, he noticed with a jolt of surprise, emitted an energy signature similar to his own. "Freeze," the squad leader shouted, her weapon trained on Krell's chest. For a moment, assassin and defenders stood in a tense standoff. Then, with a speed that defied human reflexes, Krell sprang into action. He dodged the first volley of shots, noting with grudging admiration that they came far closer to hitting him than any human weapon had before. As Krell engaged in a deadly dance with the security team, he realized that this mission had become something more than a simple assassination. It was a test, a measure of humanity's ability to adapt and overcome. And despite himself, Krell was enjoying it. In the base's control room, Dr. Ilara Vance watched the unfolding battle with a mix of fear and fascination. The alien moved like liquid shadow, evading shots that should have been impossible to dodge. Yet the security team, armed with prototype weapons based on the assassin's own technology, was holding its own. "Dr. Vance," Admiral Chen's voice came through the comm system. "Are you all right?" "Yes, Admiral," Ilara replied, her eyes never leaving the security feeds. "But this is incredible. The way it moves, the way it thinks. We could learn so much." Helena's voice hardened. "Your safety is the priority, Doctor. We'll have plenty of time to study our visitor once we've captured it." As if hearing the challenge in Helena's words, Krell suddenly changed tactics. Instead of continuing to engage the security team, he made a beeline for the control room. Alarms blared as blast doors began to close, but Krell slipped through them with seconds to spare. Ilara found herself face to face with the alien assassin. But instead of fear, she felt an overwhelming sense of curiosity. Here was a being from another world, a treasure trove of knowledge about the galaxy and its inhabitants. "Hello," she said, her voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. "I'm Dr. Ilara Vance. I don't suppose we could talk before you try to kill me." Krell paused, taken aback by the human's audacity. In all his years as an assassin, no target had ever simply tried to start a conversation with him. It was refreshing. "You are either very brave or very foolish, Dr. Vance," Krell said, his melodious voice tinged with amusement. "Perhaps both. A common trait among your species, I'm beginning to realize." Before Ilara could respond, the room's blast doors exploded inward. Security forces poured in, led by a grim-faced Admiral Chen. "Step away from Dr. Vance," Helena ordered, her weapon trained on Krell. The alien assassin looked from Ilara to Helena, then back again. In that moment, he made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. "Another time, perhaps," he said to Ilara, a hint of regret in his voice. Then, with a speed that defied human perception, he activated his cloaking device and slipped past the stunned security team. As alarms blared and the base was locked down, Helena rushed to Ilara's side. "Are you hurt? What did it say to you?" Ilara shook her head, a bemused smile on her face. "I'm fine, Admiral. And I think we just had our first real conversation with an alien species." As Krell's ship broke lunar orbit and disappeared into the depths of space, both humans and assassin knew that the rules of engagement had changed. This was no longer just a hunt. It was first contact, a clash of civilizations, and the opening move in a game that would determine the fate of humanity and the galaxy itself. The hunt had taken an unexpected turn, and neither predator nor prey could predict where it would lead next. Unexpected allies. The Galactic Syndicate's headquarters buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from various alien races huddled in small groups, their whispered conversations a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and guttural sounds. At the center of it all, Zixnera's tentacles writhed in agitation as she addressed the emergency council. "This situation has spiraled out of control," she hissed, her bioluminescent spots pulsing an angry red. "Not only has Krell failed to eliminate the human leadership, but he's inadvertently accelerated their technological development." A Vextor delegate, his crystalline form shimmering with anxiety, spoke up. "Perhaps it's time we considered more drastic measures. A full-scale invasion." "Silence," Zixnera snapped. "We cannot risk open warfare. The humans' adaptability makes them unpredictable." No, we need a new approach. As the council devolved into arguments, a lone figure slipped away unnoticed. Lyra, a young Zarian diplomat, had heard enough. For years, she had harbored doubts about the Syndicate's policies towards emerging species. Now, watching the panic spread through the council, she knew she had to act. Meanwhile, light years away, Krell's ship drifted through an asteroid field on the outskirts of the Sol system. The assassin sat motionless in the cockpit, his black eyes fixed on a holographic display of Earth. "Computer, replay audio file VAC 1, he commanded. Dr. Ilara Vance's voice filled the cabin. "Hello, I'm Dr. Ilara Vance. I don't suppose we could talk before you try to kill me." Krell had replayed this moment countless times, trying to understand the human's reaction. Fear, he understood. Defiance, he expected. But curiosity. A willingness to communicate even in the face of death. It challenged everything he thought he knew about lesser species. A priority alert interrupted his musings. "Incoming transmission," the computer announced. "Origin unknown." Intrigued, Krell accepted the call. A hooded figure appeared on the screen, its features obscured. "Greetings, Krell," a soft, melodious voice said. "I am Lyra of the Zarian. We need to talk." Back on Earth, Admiral Helena Chen paced the length of her office, her mind racing. The encounters with Krell had pushed humanity's technological development ahead by decades, if not centuries. But at what cost? "Admiral," her AI assistant chimed. "Dr. Vance and Dr. Patel have arrived." Helena took a deep breath, composing herself. "Send them in." Ilara and Amit entered, both looking exhausted but exhilarated. "Admiral," Amit began, barely containing his excitement, "you won't believe what we've discovered." Over the next hour, the scientists laid out their findings. By reverse engineering the technology from Krell's weapons and studying the energy signatures from his ship, they had made unprecedented breakthroughs in propulsion, energy manipulation, and even the beginnings of their own cloaking technology. "It's remarkable," Ilara added, her eyes shining. "Every encounter pushes us further. It's almost as if we're being tested," Helena finished, a frown creasing her brow. "But to what end?" Before either scientist could respond, an urgent message flashed across Helena's screen. "Unknown vessel approaching Earth. Non-human life signs detected." Helena's heart raced. "Krell?" she asked, already moving towards the door. Amit shook his head, studying the readings. "No, this is different. It's Admiral. I think we're about to have another first contact scenario." As Earth's defenses mobilized, a sleek silver ship emerged from the darkness of space. Unlike Krell's vessel, this one made no attempt to hide. It broadcasted a simple message on all frequencies. "People of Earth, we come in peace and bear urgent news. Please respond." In the ship's cockpit, Lyra nervously adjusted her translator. Beside her, Krell sat rigidly, his expression unreadable. Their unlikely alliance, born of Lyra's conscience and Krell's growing doubts, had brought them to this moment. "Are you sure about this?" Lyra asked, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the blue-green orb of Earth. Krell's gaze remained fixed on the planet. "No," he admitted, "but it's the right thing to do." As Earth's response came through, granting them permission to land, both aliens felt the weight of history on their shoulders. They were about to change the course of galactic politics forever. The landing site was a flurry of activity. Military personnel, scientists, and diplomats gathered, all eyes fixed on the descending ship. At the forefront stood Admiral Chen, Dr. Vance, and Dr. Patel, each wrestling with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. As the ship's ramp lowered, a hush fell over the crowd. Lyra emerged first, her translucent, iridescent form drawing gasps of wonder from the assembled humans. But it was the figure behind her that caused Helena's hand to tighten on her weapon. "Krell," she breathed, recognition and wariness warring in her voice. The assassin inclined his head slightly. "Admiral Chen." Dr. Vance, we meet again under unexpected circumstances. For a moment, tension crackled in the air. Then Ilara, ever the scientist, stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady. "I believe we have much to discuss." Over the next few hours, in a hastily convened meeting room, Lyra and Krell laid out the situation. They spoke of the Galactic Syndicate's fear of humanity's potential, the long-standing policy of suppressing emerging species, and the immediate threat Earth faced. "The Syndicate is preparing for war," Lyra explained, her translator struggling to convey the urgency in her melodious language. "They see humanity's rapid advancement as an existential threat." Krell, his dark eyes scanning the room, added, "My mission was a test. Had I succeeded, it would have buying them time. My failure has only accelerated their plans." The human delegation sat in stunned silence, trying to process the implications. They had known they weren't alone in the universe, but the scale of the galactic political landscape was overwhelming. Admiral Chen was the first to recover. "Why tell us this?" she asked, her gaze shifting between Lyra and Krell. "Why betray your own people?" Lyra's form shimmered with emotion. "Because it's wrong," she said simply. "The Syndicate's policies are based on fear and control. But in you humans, I see the potential for something greater." Krell's response was more measured. "I have lived for centuries, Admiral. I have seen empires rise and fall. But never have I encountered a species quite like yours. Your adaptability, your curiosity, your sheer determination. You represent a change this galaxy desperately needs." As the implications of their words sank in, Dr. Patel spoke up. "So what happens now? We're hardly prepared for a galactic war." A slow smile spread across Krell's face, an expression that would have been terrifying if not for the glimmer of respect in his eyes. "Now, Dr. Patel, we prepare. The Syndicate thinks they know humanity's capabilities. They don't. And with our help, they'll never see you coming." The room erupted into discussion, plans being formed and discarded rapid fire. As Helena watched her team work seamlessly with their new alien allies, she felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best, facing the unknown with courage, adaptability, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Outside, as news of the alien visitation spread, people around the world looked to the stars with a mix of fear and wonder. Humanity stood on the brink of a new era, one that would challenge them like never before. But as Admiral Helena Chen gazed at the unlikely alliance forming before her, she knew one thing for certain. Whatever the galaxy threw at them, humanity would face it head-on. The hunt had evolved into something far greater, a fight for humanity's place in the stars. And with their unexpected allies by their side, it was a fight they intended to win. The final showdown. The following months were a whirlwind of activity. Earth became a hub of frantic preparation and unprecedented cooperation. With Krell and Lyra's guidance, human scientists made quantum leaps in technology, while military strategists absorbed centuries of galactic warfare tactics. Admiral Helena Chen stood on the bridge of the ESS Prometheus, Earth's first true interstellar warship. A marvel of human ingenuity and alien technology, it represented humanity's best hope against the coming storm. "Status report," Helena commanded, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of a wormhole ahead. Dr. Amit Patel, now Chief Science Officer, responded from his station. "Wormhole is stable, Admiral. Syndicate fleet expected on the other side." Helena nodded, a grim smile on her face. Time to crash their party. The plan was audacious, bordering on insane. Instead of waiting for the Syndicate's invasion, they would take the fight to them. The element of surprise was their greatest weapon. As the Prometheus entered the wormhole, Helena thought back to the heated debates that had led to this moment. Some had argued for isolation, for hiding and hoping the galactic community would leave them alone. But that wasn't the human way. Humanity had always pushed boundaries, always reached for the stars. They wouldn't cower now. The ship emerged into chaos. The Syndicate's invasion fleet, a vast armada of sleek, deadly vessels, hung in space before them. For a moment, both sides seemed frozen in shock. Then all hell broke loose. Evasive maneuvers, Helena shouted as energy beams lanced through space. The Prometheus danced through the barrage, its human pilots combining their natural instincts with the ship's advanced systems in ways the Syndicate had never seen. On a nearby console, Krell's dark form hunched over a weapons array. The former assassin had become one of humanity's staunchest allies, his centuries of experience proving invaluable. "Targeting their flagship," he announced, his melodious voice tight with concentration. Lyra, her translucent form shimmering with nervous energy, monitored communications. "Admiral, I'm detecting confusion in their ranks. They didn't expect us to have this level of technology." Helena allowed herself a small smile. "Let's give them something else they don't expect. Dr. Vance, are you ready?" Dr. Ilara Vance's voice came through the comm, steady despite the chaos around them. "Ready, Admiral. Operation Trojan Horse is go." While the Prometheus engaged the Syndicate fleet, drawing their attention, a smaller, cloaked vessel slipped through the chaos. On board, Ilara led a team of Earth's best hackers and xenobiologists. Their mission: infiltrate the Syndicate's flagship and deploy a virus unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. It wasn't a destructive virus, not in the traditional sense. Instead, it was designed to do what humanity did best: communicate, adapt, and overcome barriers. As energy weapons flared and ships danced in deadly ballet, Ilara's team worked feverishly. The virus spread through the Syndicate systems, not destroying but revealing. It brought to light centuries of suppressed information, of marginalized species and manipulated conflicts. On the Syndicate flagship, Zixnera writhed in fury as her carefully constructed web of lies began to unravel. "Destroy them," she screeched, her tentacles lashing out at cowering subordinates. "Wipe this human plague from the galaxy." But it was too late. The truth was spreading faster than any weapon could fire, faster than any ship could fly. Across the Syndicate fleet, beings of all species were seeing the reality of their leader's manipulation for the first time. Back on the Prometheus, Helena watched in awe as ship after ship powered down their weapons. "It's working," Emmett breathed, his eyes wide with disbelief. Lyra's voice was choked with emotion as she translated the incoming messages. "They're standing down, Admiral. The Syndicate, it's falling apart from the inside." As the battle died around them, Helena felt a weight lift from her shoulders. They had done it. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had changed the very fabric of galactic society. In the days that followed, the galaxy experienced a seismic shift. The Syndicate's iron grip on power crumbled, replaced by a new coalition of species united by the principles of transparency, cooperation, and mutual growth. Humanity, far from being destroyed or subjugated, found itself at the center of this new galactic order. Their unique blend of adaptability, curiosity, and determination had not only saved them, but had lit a spark of change that spread across the stars. 1 month after the battle, Admiral Helena Chen stood before the newly formed Galactic Council. Representatives from hundreds of species, some familiar and many utterly alien, watched as she spoke. "We came to the stars as explorers," Helena began, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. "We faced fear, hostility, and the threat of extinction. But we also found friendship in unexpected places, and the strength to challenge a system that had stood for millennia." She gestured to Krell and Lyra, standing proudly alongside the human delegation. "We learned that the greatest power in the universe isn't advanced technology or military might. It's the ability to connect, to empathize, and to grow together." As Helena spoke, Krell reflected on his journey. He had come to Earth as an assassin, seeing humans as nothing more than targets. Now he stood as their ally, humbled by their indomitable spirit and awed by their capacity for forgiveness and growth. Lyra, her form shimmering with joy, marveled at the change she had helped bring about. The galaxy she had always dreamed of, diverse, cooperative, filled with the free exchange of ideas, was becoming a reality. Helena concluded her speech with words that would be remembered for generations to come. "We are not here to conquer or to rule. We are here to learn, to share, and to build a future among the stars that honors the best in all of us. This is humanity's promise to the galaxy." As applause thundered through the council chamber, a new era dawned. Humanity had not only secured its place among the stars, but had reshaped the very nature of galactic civilization. The species that alien assassins couldn't touch had become the architects of a brighter, more united cosmos. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, on worlds yet undiscovered, new civilizations looked up at the stars with wonder, unaware that their future had just been forever changed by a species from a small blue planet on the edge of an unremarkable galaxy. The hunt was over. The age of exploration, cooperation, and boundless possibility had begun.